नाशिनि शास्त्रहिते शिवसहिते शिवशम्भु शुभङ्करि शुम्भरि शुम्भपदास्तुते सकल मनोहरि सुन्दरि सर्ववशङ्करि शङ्करतोषकृते जय परमेश्वरि नित्य सुमङ्गलि नित्य नितेश्वरि पालय कटाक्षिणि सूक्ष्म विलेक्षणि काङ्क्षित साक्षिणि सर्वविदे शुभजन शाश्वत मानस पावित कामित याचित पूर्णकृते सुकर सुखीकृत दुष्कर नाश कृते जननि हित क्रोध कृते जय परमेश्वरि नित्य सुमङ्गलि नित्य नितेश्वरि पालय शक्तियुते अजिते शुभवरदे विभवे विमले कमले कमलाम्बुजपादयुते करकमले करुणानिलये कमलाक्षयुते करशूलधृते जय परमेश्वरि नित्य सुमङ्गलि नित्य नितेश्वरि पालय सहित स्मरणस्तर सुष्वरनाद च मे हृदये शिव शिव शब्दनिनाद मृदङ्ग श्रुते कुरु नृत्य ममाधिपते शिव नटराज समेत हिताण्डवलास्य कृते शिव हर्ष कृते जय परमेश्वरि नित्य सुमङ्गलि नित्य नितेश्वरि पालय बहु अवतार कृते जनपालित शासित भूमि पवित्र कृते युग युग शम्भविते च कलौ नित्यानन्द रूप शरीर कृते परम शिवेश्वरि नित्य महेश्वरि नित्य कलामयि नित्यनुते परम शिवेश्वरि नित्य महेश्वरि नित्य कलामयि नित्यनुते जय परमेश्वरि नित्य सुमङ्गलि नित्य नितेश्वरि पालय जय परमेश्वरि नित्य सुमङ्गलि नित्य नितेश्वरि पालय
நித்யானந்தா நித்யானந்தா வந்தாரையா ஆனந்தத்தை அள்ளி அள்ளி தந்தாரையா நித்யானந்தா நித்யானந்தா வந்தாரையா ஆனந்தத்தை அள்ளி அள்ளி தந்தாரையா பல சூரியன தோற்கடிக்கும் வந்தோ இவன் தானோ பல வெண்ணிலவ சேர்த்து வைத்த அழகன் இவன் தானோ நித்யானந்தா நித்யானந்தா வந்தாரையா ஆனந்தத்தை அள்ளி அள்ளி தந்தாரையா ஓம் நித்யானந்த பரமசிவோகம்
as Paramashiva, inhale and exhale deeply with 25 heads and 75 eyes and 50 hands. Visualize, meditate, connect with him. He is a living, alive being. Drop your form into his form and dissolve. Remember, you are a Sarupya Mukta, means your form is dissolved into his form. All my disciples, now I am initiating Sarupya Mukta.
Let's talk nuclear. New and clear. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Bhagavan Nithyananda Paramashivam, brings out powerful techniques to understand the way the cosmos actually works. But all of it is actually from Hinduism. The revelations are from Hinduism. Today we'll be having a very thrilling discussion on the 5 forces of the universe and beyond. What are these 5? What is the 5th one? And it's something that everybody is talking about today, specifically when it comes about talking about nuclear force, strong nuclear force, weak nuclear force, and all of the forces of the cosmos. So the 5th force the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism shares is consciousness. And how can we consciousness? We'll be getting into that discussion. Let us talk later and first invoke the presence of our beloved Swamiji with the Sadguru Vandanam. Nithyanandam Paramasukhadam Kevalam Jnanamurtim Dvandvatitam Gagana Sadrisham Tattvamasya Dilaksham Ekam Nityam Vimalamachalam Sarvadi Sakshibhutam Bhavatitam Trigunarahitam Sadgurum Tam Namami. Yes, so this is going to be a beautiful interactive session. So encouraging everyone who is watching us right now to put your comments forward, add to the discussion. We're going to be seeing how the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has shared that the 4 fundamental forces that are there in the cosmos and beyond are mapped somehow to our microcosm. Actually, they are so interconnected. And this truth is something that he has given in a powerful satsang when he revealed these powerful forces of the cosmos. So we'll be getting into the discussion, but first, many of you may be unkind to wanting to understand what is this Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism is sharing. The 5th consciousness means that just knowing the truth that Paramashiva is there, not because it is your belief or anything like that, but knowing that he is real and he is the truth, and being simply conscious and aware about this one fact of the world is really the 5th power. And knowing that your consciousness is a reality, the existence of Paramashiva is real, and the principle with which Paramashiva operates this whole universe is real, and his existence is real. That is the power of consciousness. That is the 5th force that the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism is telling us. It is a breakthrough when it comes to the scientific thought of how these forces work, but when it comes to the truths of Hinduism, which we are finding more and more very factual and very much advanced higher science of the cosmos, when we're looking into this whole way of understanding the world, we're finding that Hinduism has had and revealed some of the secrets that we are yet to discover in a scientific method. So when the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism shares that the principle of Paramashiva is called as Linga or Dharma, but how do you connect with that? Is just by cognizing, just by knowing the reality is consciousness, knowing the reality happening in the microcosm, in your reality, in what you see around you. That is called consciousness. And consciousness happening in the level of the whole cosmos itself is Paramashiva. And that is the way that the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism describes these as consciousness as the 5th force. But this is actually the punchline of that whole satsang where he gave on it. But we must map the way that the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has shared with us. Map the 4 powers or the 4 forces of the conscious of the universe to our lives. He has beautifully explained what is it at the microcosm level, what is greed at the microcosm level, what is greed at the macrocosm level, what is greed at the what is fear at the microcosmic level, and what is fear at the macrocosmic level. And beautifully he has revealed this truth. It is a beautiful way that we should map the whole cognition of the whole consciousness or the life or the reality around us. And beautifully, with His divine grace, we have started today with the fifth force. And here we have some of the people commenting. Nithyanandam, welcoming you to the discussion. And today we would like to have a very participative discussion, really helping everyone cognize the truths that are being explored today. Ask your questions and put them out there. How you these things in this way. What is the connection you want? Standing or detail? Go ahead, ask your questions. Yes, Nithyanandam, welcome to this beautiful discussion. And first off, we have with us Sri Nithya Jnanatmananda. Sri Nithyanatmananda Maharaj, welcome Maharaj. Go ahead and now, if you can, in a few words, share what is your understanding when the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism shares that consciousness is the fifth force of the universe. What is the way that this is a powerful cognition for you? Go ahead.
Nithyananda Maharaj, thank you so much. So, it's actually very similar to what you shared about, is that it's just knowing that Paramashiva is with you. And so it's one of the discussions, about how do I become part of KAILASA, and what is the greatest security that I can have in my life, because generally what happens is people will, you will even see, people will come to Swamiji and they'll say, my relationship is a problem, and my job is a problem, my finances is a problem. And then Swamiji will give a solution how you can unclutch and let go of the problems. And so Swamiji will be saying, okay, so let go of your problem. And then the person will have the resistance, kind of like we're saying no. And so this is like we're feeling, okay, so the security and the wealth, the insurance in my life is those things that I'm holding on to. But actually, the ultimate wealth is knowing that Paramashiva is with you. So that's how I understand actually the ability to go beyond all of those things as per the reality, not even your perception or understanding, but just knowing Paramashiva is with you gives you the connection with your microcosmic consciousness to Paramashiva as the macrocosmic consciousness. And like you said, Maharaj, whether or not you understand it logically or have a justification for it. So that is one of the powerful cognitions we've seen through the manifestation in the fifth force in the universe.
Yes, Maharaj. Thank you for sharing. Yes, it is beautiful how you brought it actually to the down-to-earth context that everybody is facing nowadays, and that is exactly how the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism says and gives these forces as not some kind of a wondrous science that you can spend some time with, so just to get away from your daily thing. Actually a way that we must understand fundamentally in Hinduism and in the cosmos itself, is that the macrocosm, whatever events and celestial happenings are going on up there, have a direct impact on the microcosm, ourselves and our lives. And this is something that is a science in Hinduism known as Jyotisha or astrology also, that tells that the microcosm has a macrocosm, or the universe has an impact on the microcosm. And this is a beautiful thing that many people talk about in the parallel universe theory, or on the butterfly effect, where everything is interconnected somehow, and the way that you make decisions now will impact you in a way. And also something related with what we discussed yesterday about karma, about what we get, what we have already put out. These are some of the things that the way that you can cognize and understand the way that Swamiji is teaching us all of these things. And we have beautifully somebody sharing that, do we have control over these forces? Beautiful. It's a simple question, and the straightforward answer is yes. We have a way to be able to change our reality. We have the power over our consciousness, our ability to cognize and move ourselves forward. And even more we get to know. We just discussed about consciousness, but let's take a look at a clip, and it's a little longer clip, but it's worth listening to because it's a powerful breakthrough in the understanding of how we cognize the cosmos or the forces that we see. We may be seeing gravity here and there. We will be seeing the force of electromagnetism here and there. But even the forces that we don't see or come across usually, which is weak nuclear force or strong nuclear force, these are the four forces that the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism will be talking about. But he maps it beautifully to the lives that we have, into our microcosm itself. So that is why this clip is so interesting and it's worth watching. So let's take the moment now to watch the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism describe about the four known. Actually, he says very clearly that these are the four forces that the human mind is now able to decode, but it is not able to touch the fifth force of consciousness that Hinduism has told is a powerful entity or being inside the cosmos. So let us get to know how beautifully the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism reveals the truths about these four fundamental forces.
Microcosm. Listen. I am repeating. Gravity happening in the macrocosm and greed happening in the microcosm both function on the same principles, on the same cosmic law, on the same truths, on the same foundation. So, listen intensely. Today's satsang is a very powerful message about the science of Shaktis. Listen to it at least 5 times. Only then you will be able to grasp the whole thing. Only then you will be able to enjoy the whole thing. Only then you will be able to internalize the whole thing. Only then you will be able to manifest it as an experience. So now, listen. The first understanding about gravity and greed. As I said, greed happening in the macrocosm is gravity. Gravity happening in the microcosm is greed. That's the first principle. First understanding. The second force is electromagnetic force. Fear happening in the macrocosmic level is electromagnetic force, and electromagnetic force happening in microcosmic level is fear. Understand? All the principles human mind knows about the fear. All the laws, principles, science, human mind knows about the electromagnetic force. Apply them to the fear you experience in your microcosm. You will realize so many deeper level truths about fear. You will just conquer fear, and you will know how to use fear in your life. Listen. all the understandings you have about fear, map it to electromagnetic force, you will have more understanding. You may even land in new understandings, revelations, inventions, discoveries related to electromagnetic force. You may discover new laws, principles, reach new level of understanding about the electromagnetic force if you reveal, if you map all your internal understandings about fear. If you map all the scientific understandings, revelations, principles about electromagnetic force on fear, you will have more understanding about fear, and all the understandings you have about fear, if you map it on electromagnetic force, you will have more understanding about electromagnetic force. Electromagnetic force happening in macrocosm is fear. Fear happening in the macrocosm, cosmos, is electromagnetic force. Let me repeat. Electromagnetic force happening in microcosm, inside your system, is fear. Fear happening in the macrocosm, cosmos, is electromagnetic force. Let me repeat. Gravity, gravitating, happening in microcosm is greed. Greed happening in the macrocosm, cosmos, is gravity. Fear happening in the macrocosmic level is electromagnetic force. Electromagnetic force happening in the microcosmic level is fear. Listen. Just these two principles, any of you start analyzing, mapping, organizing, easily you will get Nobel Prize. Because there is so much Eastern science, Upanishads, revealed about fear and greed. There is so much the modern science has analyzed and understood about gravity and electromagnetic force. Many things will complement each other. Many of the understandings about the electromagnetic force and gravitation force by the modern science, if you map them to the understandings about fear and greed by the Upanishads and Agamas, the Hindu scriptures, you will land on many revelations, discoveries, understandings, powers in the inner world and in the outer world, in microcosm and in the macrocosm. What I am revealing is some of the fundamental principles, fundamental discoveries. This Chaturmasya, whole 4 months, I spent in such intense samadhi. Whatever Paramashiva has revealed to me in this intense samadhi, I am revealing it to all of you now. Gravity in microcosm is greed. Greed in macrocosm is gravity. Electromagnetic force in microcosm is fear. Fear in macrocosmic level is electromagnetic force. Third force, human mind decoded, is weak nuclear force. Listen, weak nuclear force. Powerful cognitions happening in microcosm is the weak nuclear force. Listen. Listen, I am repeating. In microcosm, the powerful cognitions you experience are the equivalent to weak nuclear force. In the cosmos, macrocosmic level, when powerful cognitions are revealed by cosmos to cosmos, when it manifests powerful cognitions, that is the weak nuclear force. The weak nuclear force manifesting in the microcosmic level is powerful cognitions. Powerful cognitions manifesting in the macrocosmic level is weak nuclear force. All the laws, principles related to weak nuclear force, take them and map to your powerful cognitions. When you manifest powerful cognitions, what happens in you? Map it. You will have so much understanding and revelations. Whenever you get the powerful cognitions, what happens in you? Observe that. Observe that. Absorb and observe. Map that into the macrocosmos, the macrocosmic principles of weak nuclear force. You will have so much understanding, revelation about the weak nuclear force. Listen. Whenever you get a powerful cognition, a powerful inspiration, like unclutching. Understanding about unclutching is the powerful cognition. What happens to you? In the microcosmic level, it is actually equivalent to the weak nuclear force happening in the macrocosmic level. Whatever happens to you, whenever you get the powerful cognitions inside you, map that understandings to the weak nuclear force. You will have more revelations, inventions, discoveries about the weak nuclear force. And whatever you know, science knows about the weak nuclear force, map them to your powerful cognitions. You will have so much revelations inside, and you will be able to manifest so many powers inside. Listen. The greed in you is equivalent to gravity in the universe. The fear in you is equivalent to electromagnetic force in the universe. The powerful cognitions you experience is equivalent to weak nuclear force in the universe. All common practicing Hindus reach up to this 3 level. The fourth, strong nuclear force. Strong nuclear force is equivalent to initiation. Initiation, diksha, by an incarnation, living incarnation. Listen. Strong nuclear force happening in the microcosmic level is diksha, initiation. Diksha, initiation happening in the macrocosmic level is strong nuclear force. Every principle, understanding, ideas, scientific revelations you know about the strong nuclear force, map them to the microcosmic experience of initiation. You will have so much of understanding, clarity, revelations about the power of initiation. You will be able to absorb initiation more and use initiation more. Get the best out of initiation. Same way, everything you know about the power of initiation in the microcosmic level, map it to the strong nuclear force of macrocosmic level. You will have not just new discoveries, inventions, revelations, new principles. You will be empowered to use the strong nuclear force in the macrocosmic level also. You can use just Surya Namaskar, sun salutation, to build your body internally, externally as you want, without the help of anything else. Because sun salutation, Surya Namaskar, is nothing but using strong nuclear force of the sun to empower the microcosm you are carrying. Surya Namaskar is a direct initiation from Surya. Listen. I will repeat. Greed is equivalent to gravity. Fear is equivalent to electromagnetic force. Powerful cognitions are equivalent to weak nuclear force. soft nuclear force, soft nuclear power, initiation by me, Paramashiva, directly is equivalent to strong nuclear force. Microcosm. Listen.
Yes, so we have seen beautifully some of the parallels that the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism is telling us is a fact of the universe itself. And many people are in the comments also coming to the discussion, coming to the Vakyarthas of this that is going on, sharing their thoughts about. James Beckham is asking, is there some method to prove that these theories are there? Seems interesting, but I am having a hard time connecting them to my everyday life. Actually, the way that you can connect these is if you actually dive more into the teachings of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. When he's bringing out, when he's talking about fear or when he's talking about greed, we need to cognize it in the way that he's sharing with us, because we're in the thick of it. Whenever we hear or greed, we know it is not able to be such an observational understanding. Because of a person who has been initiated by the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism or has done the practice of Nirvikalpa Samadhi, when you have been able to do so much of work to step back and consciousness, then you'll be able to see how the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism is sharing that these forces are actually the tools in the universe that you can yourself use for the advantage to make a beautiful, prosperous life for yourself. And these are, that way will move away from bearing just theories, but doing something really practical about them, and especially as you're saying, mapping and connecting them to your daily life. We'll see that, and we had beautiful discussions here. But I can give the example of fear. Fear, we think that we may have to stay away from, but when we can address it as like a fundamental cosmic force, we'll understand that it can be something that pulls us or moves us towards what we want. And fearing something should make us not belittle ourselves or shrink, but fear rather should make us expand, take on the challenge to be able to know how the world will react or how something will react if we do something. So the fear can also drive us to become more intelligent, more aware of some of the things that our actions can bring us. So that way the force of fear can work. So, and also some of us are saying that we can wanting to know more about the how to manifest the powerful cognitions. Yes, we'll get to that. But one of the things that we can actually bring to this discussion is the thing that the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism beautifully shared is map what the modern day understandings about these four forces are, and then if you have those understandings, you'll be able to map it to the way that the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism is sharing about fear or greed. So let's just share with you what is gravitational force. It is a force that is responsible for the attraction between masses and is what keeps objects anchored to the surface of the earth, and it governs the motions of the planets and the stars and galaxies. And this is the fundamental force that the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism is sharing, is mapped to the greed that we have or we experience in the microcosm. So the greed in the macrocosmic level is gravity, and the greed in the microcosmic level is our very the gravity mapped to the microcosm is greed. So then electromagnetic force is responsible for interactions between the electrons and the protons, the electricity, magnetism, and the behavior of light as well. So this is the electromagnetic force that is mapped to the fear that we experience in our microcosm. And the weak nuclear force is a force responsible for processes like a beta decay, for neutron transformation into a proton or an electron into an anti-nuclear neutrino, and plays a role in a decay of certain subatomic particles. And this is something that the Supreme Pontiff is sharing, is what we experience as powerful cognitions in our lives. And strong nuclear force, the nuclear force which binds protons and neutrons together within the atomic nucleus, is an attractive force that overcomes electromagnetic repulsion also, and between positively charged protons. So this is the four forces according to the Pratyaksha Pramana that we understood. So we are going to be able to have a discussion. I think more people are excitedly wanting to join about the way that we can go about mapping this. And I think Pietri is also contributing to the conversation. He's saying, is there a way that science will be able to map initiations in the future with the help of AI, or for example, or is it only experiential? Actually, we are those pioneers. Actually, when the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, actually this is a discussion that the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism wanted us to have even just 2 years ago in Vijayadashmi. But we can actually be those pioneers. We can be as the beautiful space that the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism gives us to be able to explore ourselves and look into these truths and experiment with these truths, find how they're related, and all this space that he gives. And that is actually happening right now inside the Paramashivam program. If you don't know about the Paramashivam Level 3 program, it is right now absolutely free, and it is a $21,000 program that is absolutely free for you. These powerful discussions about getting up to speed about how to even cognize these kind of things. And the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has been very clear that many of the things that he told will happen in 10 years, about 2012 or 2011, those exactly are happening right now in the world. And many of the truths that he is revealing now will be a manifestation or a part of the people's discussions or the scientific thought 10 years from now. Especially since recently he's even talked about AI, for example, being something that will be useful to be able to literally run all the mundane things in the world, and something that we can work with. So that is the way that the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism is showing that he's literally 10 years ahead in the future, in the way that he's cognizing the possibilities of human. And then when it comes to the discussion on the 4 forces, we also have Sri Nithyananda Maharaj here with us. Go ahead, Maharaj, and share your thoughts about how, and your comments about how we can cognize and map these 4 forces into our daily lives.
Great, thank you, Maharaj. So this sort of coming from a sort of a study, a background in science. I studied some sciences and some physics. And so Swamiji giving this simple way to give life solutions for yourself, right? So if we're talking about spiritual solutions, consciousness solutions, then Swamiji's saying people can understand gravity, even if their understanding of that apple falling in your head is something. People can understand these things about gravity and electricity, magnetism. They can also understand. So that's one of the things I always felt like. The gravity is attracting, and so it's kind of like condensing or becoming smaller. And that is what I experience when I'm having the greed. It's like you're in a space of powerlessness. And so that was one of the understandings I was having. And then from the aspect of fear, so the electromagnetism happens basically even in the electrical system. The electron passes from their energy from one to the next, so it runs in a line in certain systems. And so what happens with my fear is if I'm carrying fear around, interacting with people, that fear is going to even subconsciously, like a plague, run through all the people I'm around. So it's kind of good to know about that. And then when Swamiji speaks about, oh yes, so Swamiji said is the weak nuclear force. So it's basically like the ability to transform from one thing to another in the science world. And so Swamiji called this as the decoding of the human mind, which I feel is really great, because my experience in this system of 5 forces has been that the difference between this third force of weak nuclear force and the consciousness is logic, so which is the mind. So in the level of the in the level of the weak nuclear force, your powerful cognition. So you would have to think of a powerful cognition and then sort of repeat it and remember it and take action based on it. So it's of the mind level. And so Swamiji shares that the modern humanitarian science has come to be able to describe the first 4 levels, including the strong nuclear force, but not the 5th, the consciousness. the consciousness functions beyond logic, so it doesn't require your logic. Like Maharaj, you were saying earlier, just knowing that, like whether or not you feel it, and whether or not you remember it, or whether or not you agree with it, that Paramashiva is real, the consciousness is real. So this is the 5th level. And so my understanding how the scientific community can they can use the first 4 levels. It's described and it's used in your electrical systems. You see it is there. But the 5th one, that's inexplicable by logic and cannot be contained or encapsulated by human mind logic, they're not able to describe. So we already know there is functioning amongst the universe that is beyond our understanding, but our ability to use it and our confidence to use it is not there. In many ways, because we haven't seen it proliferated throughout the scientific community. So I just feel that is exactly what Swamiji is doing. He gives you the first 4 levels, you can see exactly how it works, and then the 5th level, you don't need to know that. You just know Paramashiva is real and do what he's guiding you to do.
And we have a beautiful discussion also going on in the chat, and encouraging everyone who wants to know more about this, they can also participate in the discussion. We also beautiful people are also sharing their thoughts and answering others about how consciousness is Paramashiva that is there inside us. Some of us ask, how do you live as consciousness and Paramashiva at the same time? Once you understand your consciousness, you just connect with the macrocosmic understanding of it, and that's a beautiful answer that is given there. And so gravity, Jnanamaya Priya is saying gravity is cosmos acting in response to needs, giving sustenance that is created at a conscious level. Yes, it is a good understanding actually. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism in this talk also shared that what you gravitate towards, what you attract towards you, that is your greed that you hold inside your life. And we have also people saying that this is a kind of a discussion, is something that Swamiji has already talked about, and we know about it. Talk about having a discussion about something that is to do with maybe some kind of fears that may be having. I think Utit Sharma, you're asking a question on how you can remove a particular kind of ideology that is there in the world that you think is doing a lot of maybe something bad. Actually, the way to attend to this is actually doing more the work that Swamiji is asking to us. And when you really have an ideology that something in the world needs to be removed, or some kind of a ideology needs to be removed, it is going to be acting by a particular kind of greed or fear. You need to be able to have the power of consciousness to be able to step out about this. And beautifully, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism shared that many Hindus have come to the cognition or to the level of understanding the third the third force of weak nuclear force, which is the ability to transform. As Jnanatma Maharaj was sharing, the powerful cognitions that we carry, how we are seeing like electrons become neutrons or change in like back and forth, that is a powerful force that we are seeing in the cosmos, is something that was mapped beautifully by the Shastras in as powerful cognitions, that we can just take a cognition and move it. And I think some of the people who are asking the question, I think asking about how when they have the initiation from Swamiji, it is powerful, but when they come back to the world, they're able to go back to they're finding their self with it. I think maybe one of the answers to this question is exercise your weak nuclear force, use the powerful cognitions. Initiations are given to you, they're bolted into your consciousness, but the way to manifest them is by transforming your thoughts. The thoughts of fear and greed can be transformed into powerful cognitions, and that is the way we can apply the principle that the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism is teaching of weak nuclear force, where we cognize our fears not as something that is like so big we're not able to handle it, but we take a responsibility for it. I think one of the catalysts that can move us from following greed or fear is responsibilism. When we feel fear, are we going to look at it at a point of view of taking this fear and saying, okay, this is a fear in my life, what am I going to do to address it and let it not have power over me? Let me have the courage to face it and see how to logically remove it from my life. And if you're having that kind of a powerful way to even look at the fear, then you're exercising the powerful cognitions of Greek mythology, especially the cognitions of responsibilism. Whether maybe you have a greed, you want something in your life, and you have this feeling that is laziness inside you to go and manifest it. The actual thought of transforming and having powerful cognitions is just putting aside the laziness and just saying this has to be done in this much amount of time, and I need to finish this to be able to manifest this greed or attract this particular thing in my life as like a gravity, or have it gravitate towards you. And this is the way that the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism teaches us how to manifest these powerful cognitions. And in the Paramashivam program that is going on right now, it is filled with transforming all of these fears and greeds into powerful cognitions. And finally, at the end of the whole day, we have a powerful initiation where the strong nuclear force, the initiations are there, where we just get to touch base with the super consciousness that is manifesting in front of us as Swamiji, and he awakens that strong nuclear force inside of us, whether it's this deity or that deity is quality. Today, beautifully, we'll have the experience of Dakshinamurti, one of the most powerful forms of Paramashiva, who transmits enlightenment just by his silence. He has such a vibrant, creating silence that creates the cosmos. From it so much can happen, and such a penetrative silence is how Dakshinamurti teaches. And when we're attending these initiations, we get to see how exactly those same neuron activity that is happening inside the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism's manifestation in his form, it can map itself into us. So it is a powerful way and a strong way to have this initiation. And we have beautifully more people coming into the play of forces. Jnanamaya Priya is saying the play of forces only in the hands of consciousness gives the best results. Absolutely, I definitely can agree. As beautifully, even you're answering some of the questions by Shri Udit Sharma, who's also asking about how to remove particular ideologies in the world that he thinks, that we may think are doing a lot of destruction. But the real way, as Jnanamaya Priya is sharing, that it is consciousness actually that if we tap into, we'll be able to all have the correct balance inside and the correct way to approach the world and know really what is right, what is wrong, what is the benefit of a particular type of understanding and what is not the benefit, and how to remove that. And as we move more and more people into cognizing the fifth force of consciousness, we'll understand we can really all coexist. There does not need to be any kind of a war or a destruction that needs to happen in the world. The powerfulness that we can bring ourselves to is saving ourselves from destroying each other, saving ourselves and moving more towards consciousness, moving more towards a beautiful harmony and a coexistence is one of the beautiful purposes with which Hinduism is there and has been able to provide this kind of a shelter for so many types of people, indigenous traditions. And that is why Hinduism is an umbrella of so many traditions to be able to provide the truth that consciousness is most important. Keep this alive. Human beings are the ones who can manifest this particular power of consciousness, and they are worth saving, they are worth keeping alive for this. And that is why the most important thing is humans and their ability to be consciousness. So the work that we need to do is on our consciousness. And we have Sri Humberto saying, I think he's explaining in Spanish, gravity just like greed alone can't repel, right? So yeah, it attracts. All it does is attract and pull things towards it. So that is a good understanding to have, and a way to map the greed towards our toward the gravity and its quality to attract to the greed that we have. We just are an attraction of whatever we hold inside, and it just gravitates towards us. And what we decide to gravitate towards us, we need to look into, we need to see, and have an awareness on what we are greeding about, what we are putting our thoughts on, what it is that we are seeking. Are we attracting the seekers around us? Are we attracting the negative people around us? Are we attracting thought currents that give a lot of hate around us? That is the beautiful thing that we can do when we have this discussion in Jivat Sadas and understanding the beautiful, just the way the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism is sharing with us to map all of this. It makes us actually, in doing this also, I think we are raising our consciousness. In doing this also, we are able to see how beautifully things and the principles of the cosmos are so interconnected to our daily lives. And the more we have this discussion, the more we can have a beautiful understanding about just the oneness of everything, which is the ultimate celebration of the cosmos. And we have Gyanamaya Priya is also sharing, I used to be confused between obligations and responsibilities. Since Swamiji happened in my life, there is only clarity and pure clarity. Beautiful, beautiful. And that is, I think, one of the powerful things that people are able to impact. And one of the previous satsangs, Swamiji beautifully told that one of the strong nuclear forces that has happened in the cosmos is the manifestation of Swamiji himself. And when we tap into that initiation, we can see how the understanding about pure clarity is actually initiation in itself. Initiation also can happen if you just watch one of the videos and have a powerful click and say, this is the powerful cognition I can go by. That can be a strong nuclear force that you can attend to. But when you come to actually going and being seated in front of the Guru and having the initiation, then you have strong nuclear force directly working on you, directly in front of you. Moving and moving yourself more towards having the Guru in your life, being a part of his life, being a part of Kailasa, and then having his direct guidance and blessings inside of your life is something that we can do to exercise the strong nuclear force in our life, to be able to really make everything aligned. We can fear for this, we can greed for this, we can have powerful cognitions for this, we can have the more and more initiations from the Guru we can do. Actually, if you know the various practices that we have, beautifully the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism was sharing how we have Surya Namaskar as a way to harness the strong nuclear force of the sun itself, of Surya Bhagavan itself. And that is why he says that you can mold your body and your consciousness or your mind in any way you want just by doing Surya Namaskar. And this is something that is for fact. I mean, for our personal experience of doing yoga, we're able to come over the smallest pains to the largest things that in the outside world we may need some physiotherapy for, like an injured hip or injured leg or injured arm. But just by doing Surya Namaskar and having that powerful cognition and just being in the initiation of Surya Bhagavan, when you practice Surya Namaskar, you really see how you can mold your body. And one of the beautiful ways the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism himself has practiced Surya Namaskars when he was young, by just doing Surya Namaskars by his Guru's instruction from morning, the sunrise to sunset. And that is the way you can the way to go about this beautiful way of discussing is, we can come to these conclusions when we have them as an experiential understanding. And the way to do that is to go inside the Paramashivam program and just absorb all of it. When you do the yoga, every yogasana that you do is going to do something to manifest some power or the other, manifest some kind of an energy in you, harness some kind of strong nuclear force in your life. Every thought current that is there discussed inside the Paramashivam sessions are an example of how you can harness the power of in your life. And this is the way that we can go about absorbing what the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism is sharing with us. So much and beautifully, Kailash lifestyle is an ecosystem centered on living powerful cognitions. Beautifully, we have the comments going on. Surya Namaskar is involved in the morning routine also every day, and it needs only a few minutes. Yes, it's so powerful. You don't understand how just moving your body in just a matter of 12 asanas can do so much. And of course, when it comes to harnessing the power, when we come to the rituals as puja that many of us also practice, when we're strong, you remember every single initiation. So some of them who are asking have the powerful cognition and feel powerful when initiations are happening, but it's not reflecting. I go back to a lifestyle that is having fear. One of the connects that you can do is have puja in your life. When you do puja every morning, you harness that strong nuclear force, the power to be able to transform, and that you're remembering that. And just by remembering those initiations, you bolt that into your cognition, into your consciousness, and that reproduces itself throughout the day. And that is why the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism again and again shares that the most productive thing that you can do in the whole day is puja. After that, everything else is productive. And everything else becomes successful after doing puja. And that is some of the experiences that many of us have had whenever it comes to understanding about puja and how puja can do such a crucial thing. And that is the whole Kailash lifestyle that we are understanding here. So, and Lotus Lewis Smith is also sharing, enriching and contributing towards Paramashiva's mission, sharing all I have learned and experienced. Beautiful. These are also the ways of enriching and reaching out and being involved in other people. doing it, going beyond our cognitions of fear or greed, whether we'll be able to be influential in other people's lives, whether other people will be able to understand us. I think one of the beautiful messages, if you've all seen the session yesterday with the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, is that he blessed us with the Chaturmasya goal of reaching out to 10,000 people with the Bhagavad Gita decoded book online, and 1,000 people physically giving the books to them. I think we should all embrace this as a powerful Guru Vaka, as a powerful initiation in itself and a strong nuclear force in it, to be able to say yes to this and align all our other forces to be able to say, let us greed for this, let us fear for this, let us have the powerful cognitions about this strong initiation and the goal that Swamiji has given us to really reach out to the world with Bhagavad Gita. And I think many of us will be able to resonate with this true understanding that really, I think the Bhagavad Gita, especially in this Chaturmasya time, taking the time off to really have this discussion. So yes, we're having so many Nitya Puja also, where people are sharing about their Nitya Puja and having the Satya Sankalpa and taking that energy every day and experiencing it. And this shows just how simple it is to live the very best. And yeah, it is. It's just a matter of the change in your cognitions and the change in the way you live. And of course, it is in the very happening of the Guru in your life. When he is there, when Paramashiva is there in front of your life, let's take this opportunity, go for the initiations and really move towards harnessing the strong nuclear force in our life. So again, I hope we have had a good, interesting discussion going on. Then this also, Sri Amberta was asking, Maharaj, is lust and the same as greed, or both always say my? Yes. Yes, whatever it is that you're attracting, of course, we have these notions and these kind of needs that we have experienced as greed, and we attract those kind of situations inside of us. The real way to do it is when you start cognizing your consciousness. That is why we practice the celibacy, or that is known as brahmacharya. In everything you attend to yourself, or in every way you attend to the world as consciousness, as Paramashiva. As Paramashiva, do I need this, or does this need to be so strong inside of me? I am Paramashiva. I Swayam Prakasha. I am self-effulgent. I am the source of all bliss. Does anything else need to come and manifest in me to cause bliss inside me? And these questions we can have for ourselves, and we can really harness the true consciousness. Experimenting with this fifth force is some of the most beautiful things. And actually, when we do the Paramashivam programs, one of the beautiful things that are there is that we have the power manifestation sessions, where we actually harness the power of consciousness, where we have literally consciousness over matter is some of the power manifestation we do, where we literally connect with Paramashiva and ask him to move something that is there before us, whether it may be a fruit or an apple or a water bottle or the Atmalinga that we have. So this is the way that we are actually mapping and doing the experiment. It's not about just theoretically speaking about this and having an intellectual understanding. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism is about making it a practical kind of thing, shown in your life that you can move an object with just your will, with just your consciousness, and that itself is able to bring so much of breakthroughs in people's understanding, and that itself is a powerful cognition and an initiation itself. And the way Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism every day is initiating everyone into various powers of Paramashiva. Today, on the beautiful day where he's manifesting as Dakshinamurti, he's going to be manifesting about the beautiful power of Sarvajñatva, the all-knowing power, to be able to be there as all-knowing. And it's something that I think we should be able to also harness this power when it comes to reaching out to the world with Bhagavad Gita, because people will have the questions for us about why should we read Bhagavad Gita, what are the solutions I'm going to, what does Bhagavad Gita say about this. I think this power of Sarvajñatva we can use with the Bhagavad Gita itself, because to be able to answer them, we should have the book in our mind, we should have the book as a part of our consciousness itself. All the books of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism are his Utsava Vigrahas. They are deities in themselves. So when we have the Bhagavad Gita with us, when we imbibe it, when we invoke Paramashiva, when we invoke Bhagavan Sri Krishna and the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, who is a powerful manifestation of all the gods and goddesses, when we invoke him and we give the Bhagavad Gita out to people, we'll find that we can really harness the powers of all-knowing, and all of these are possible for us when we do the work, when we just engage ourselves in the work of Kailasa. So let us beautifully come together. So we have Jnanatma Maharaj, we have had a beautiful discussion also in the comments, and anything that you want to bring up and point out or answer to anybody, go ahead, Maharaj, if you're there.
So yeah, I just wanted to say thank you to everyone sharing their cognitions and experience and questions about this process, because a lot of times we don't recognize how like there's questions in here, how can I apply this, what is the meaning of this? So many times if we don't take that moment to look at what Swamiji had said and apply it to our specific situation, just by doing that you'll internalize the solution. So just taking those few extra moments to understand what is the descriptions, revelations Swamiji has made, and see if you can pin one or two of your experiences or your needs especially to what Swamiji is revealing. And you'll see, so every day you can have this as part of your routine with your yoga, puja and completion. Also every day, choose a powerful cognition. Make your life easy. So every day, choose a powerful cognition you're going to use for the day. So that can be your talisman, whatever you're feeling, no problem. I have one thing I'm remembering, this I'm manifesting today. So, and there was another question in there, how can I have this as my experience? And as Maharaj, you shared was, yes, so join the Paramashivam 3 to imbibe all of these things and start practicing more and more what Swamiji is telling you to do, and you will experience that Paramashiva is the consciousness. So this whole beautiful space ecosystem Swamiji is creating for all of us. Thanks everyone for contributing there, and we have that record to refer and share that when Swamiji gives these revelations, this was the meaning for me and how I want to take it forward.
Yes, Maharaj, thank you for sharing and answering some of the people's questions and sharing actually one of the beautiful ways to do as have a powerful cognition and use it as a talisman. That is actually very inspiring, and I think the way that you can even align that with what is going on in the cosmos right now is in the Paramashivam program. The list of powerful cognitions that you can try out for the day, or you can go about practicing in the day, or there even as a part of the program itself. So more emphasis to just say that Paramashivam program is where we want to live, where we want to have this and celebrate the Kailasa ecosystem, because it's getting all of us ready for having Swamiji again and in our lives. And that's something we definitely want to greed for when we gravitate towards having him more in our lives, to be able to see the truths of his teachings in every part of our lives. And that is the way that we want to be able to
sit as Paramashiva, inhale and exhale deeply. 25 heads and 75 eyes and
that
50
power.
hands.
And we're getting
Visualize,
as we're
meditate,
getting
connect with him. He's a
close to the
living,
having a few more things here.
being.
Yes, Maharaj, I think recognizing that start harnessing that power, and of course do more power man others, third eye reading, third eye scanning, and seeing into their life, doing the third eye healing for others. This is the way to really move forward and cognize your consciousness, because as we enrich, we reach out. As we reach out and enrich people, we'll be able to ground ourselves more into the truth. And I think that is also something that Sri Jnanamaya Priya is reflecting with, saying that as soon as he started sharing Bhagavad Gita, he's able to find that it is helping him, keeping him centered into just following the Guru Vakya. And I think again and again, as Nityananda Rudras, what we really understand is what we have to do, the work we have to do is moving away everything that we are putting between us and living Swamiji's teachings. That is the real work. Just putting that away, everything else is taken care of. As soon as we align ourselves, as soon as we are integrated to learning and implementing immediately whatever Swamiji is teaching. So yes, 10,000 books and 10,000 shares. Let us reach out to the world, to as many people, and give the Bhagavad Gita, especially during this beautiful time period of Chaturmasya following the Guru Vak that Swamiji has given us since yesterday's darshan. And let us also get ready for today's darshan. We will be back with you for another beautiful session, preparing ourselves for the darshan tonight, the Dakshinamurti darshan. Beautiful, most pristine, and it is for all of us who know and connect with Dakshinamurti as a beautiful deity in our lives. It is a beautiful time. I can just tell you beautiful reminiscences of stories of how Dakshinamurti, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, has manifested powerfully in many of the deities around, and how we can just feel there is such life inside the silence. It is such giving silence, it's such compassionate silence, and that is what we'll experience in today's. It's not exactly sound or soundlessness, it is anti-sound. It is literally something that you just have to experience it. Sometimes words are not the way, you just have to come through the initiation. So with that, again, inviting everyone for the 8 p.m. EST darshan with the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. If you have time today, go ahead and joining the session so you're better prepared to understanding and know how to ask the right questions. And finally, when you get into the Paramashivam program and attend the darshan through the program, you'll be able to have the exclusive experience of being in the Naina Diksha, and also able to put your prayers forward towards Dakshinamurti, who's manifesting today through Swamiji. Ask your prayers for anything that you want in your life, any boons or any experiences that you seek, whatever it may be, even what we have been beautifully discussing today, to really let ourselves map all of these fundamental forces into our lives and really bring more and more consciousness into ourselves and into the world around us. That is the way to go about doing it. And yes, thank you, Jnanatma Maharaj, for beautifully having you come along with us and sharing and letting us build this beautiful ecosystem that we are all sharing with here in the digital ecosystem of KAILASA online. So thank you all. So we'll end now with the Purna Mantra. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasaya Purnameve Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat. Sarvam Bhagavan Sri Nithyananda Paramashivam Padukarpanamastu. Om Nithyanandam.